Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great myself because I'm finally back from visiting my grandparents. And on top of that, I got a brand new microphone and headset for Christmas. Thank you to my mom and dad for that. But yeah, apologies if the audio quality sounds a little weird. I'm tinkering around with a bunch of settings in Audacity. Definitely let me know what you guys think, and if you know how to make it sound any better, then please, I would love to know. But yeah, with that said, today we are going to be taking a look at quite possibly the worst Xbox Series X review I have ever seen. And basically, this dude's whole argument can be boiled down to the Series X is a waste of money because Overwatch did not receive a next-gen upgrade. Yes, I'm being serious, but I definitely need to preface this video by saying this video was released a little bit after the Series X came out, so I'm probably not going to bring up a lot of recent points because all his points were made obviously back in 2020, and so the argument comes from that era, so I'm going to argue it from that era. Just because, you know, it's not really fair to disprove his points with points that are a thing now. But don't worry, that doesn't make his logic any less dumb. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this.
Yeah, I don't really care for the Xbox Series X. Now don't get me wrong, this is an excellent console. It's very powerful, it's built for years to last, and the design is pretty cool. But there's a few problems that I have personally. See, my intentions for buying the Xbox Series X was to do an unboxing video and to do a review video. This one right here.
I just want you guys to keep that in mind, alright? He said the reason he bought it was to do an unboxing and review of it, which is going to be pretty relevant throughout the rest of the video. Because later on, he basically admits that the only reason he bought this thing was to dunk on it and farm ad revenue from his review on it. Now, of course, he doesn't say that directly, but you guys will see. Let's just keep going.
But when my intentions are for both of those videos and not to play video games, that's when the problems really start. Now, it's not like I had problems upgrading from the Xbox One X to the Xbox Series X, but the gamer in me did have some problems.
Okay, I'm just gonna say that was one of the cringiest things I've ever heard. Unironically saying the gamer in you has some problems with it. Dude, just please say consumer, it's way less cringy. But yeah, spoiler alert, the business side of him liked it because he got to farm ad revenue from it, and he could probably write it off on his taxes. But wait until you guys hear what the gamer in him had a problem with.
So let's sit down and talk about the problems that I have on the mic, have a cup of tea, and review the Xbox Series X.
The Xbox Series X, releasing alongside the Xbox Series S on November 10th, 2020 to a lot of mixed reviews.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but does anybody actually remember the Series X getting mixed reviews? From what I remember, it was pretty well praised at launch. And then obviously you had the PlayStation fanboys saying that there were no games, even though the only true next generation game they had at the time was Demon's Souls, I'm pretty sure. I mean, if anybody can prove me otherwise, please do, but I'm pretty sure the response was overwhelmingly positive with the Series X.
A lot of people are giving it praise because of the potential graphical power that's going to be able to pump out to future titles, and a lot of people are hating on it for many different reasons. And if you think this is another one of those videos where I just blindly hate on the Xbox, that's not at all what's going to be happening. What I'm going to be doing is judging the things I have issues with based on my current lifestyle and my needs when it comes to a gaming console.
Okay, genuine question though, what needs do you have for a console besides playing video games and streaming like Netflix? Like, that's a genuine question. And to say you're not hating on this thing is such cap. Most of your logic for why you don't like this thing is either no musclusives, or you complain that third-party developers haven't updated games yet to support 120 FPS. But I'll let him do the talking. He delivers those points much better than I could ever hope to.
You know, I feel like it's very important to understand your own personal needs and your own values when you spend over $500 on a gaming console. So at least if I can give my own personal opinions and my own judgments on what I feel about the Xbox Series X, then you can kind of get a good idea on if you're gonna see value from the Xbox Series X, rather than me just judging things that you frankly don't really care about and that I don't really care about.
Honestly, something I really hate in all these reviews is when people constantly repeat that, oh, it's their opinion and you have different values. Like, yes, dude, we know. Everybody knows that when you click on a review, it's gonna be that person's opinion. And you can always tell the people who say that the most are always the ones who are most afraid afraid to get crap for what they say, or they know that what they're saying is probably going to be really controversial and age poorly. So they try to put up that, oh, it's just my opinion shield. But putting up the opinion shield in a review is like trying to use a paper plate to protect yourself from a weed whacker. It's gonna do absolutely nothing.
So finally getting into it, the first thing that I want to give is sort of like a thesis statement for this video, a too long didn't read version on how I view the Xbox Series X, because somebody in my chat the other day when talking about the Xbox Series X described it perfectly, and that is the Xbox Series X is like a PC without the benefits of a PC.
Congratulations, dude. You just described every single console that has ever existed. Do you not realize that that's what consoles are? Consoles are just PCs with extremely limited operating systems and much more affordable prices. Have you guys ever seen Endgame? If so, you probably know what I'm about to reference. Remember the scene when I don't know how you pronounce his name, but whatever. The really tall dude is helping Thor create his new axe, and then Thor's like, oh, will I die? And then the guy goes, yes, that's what kill you means. That feels like exactly what's happening right now. He's like, oh yeah, the Xbox is a PC without the benefits of a PC. And then I'm just like, yes, that's what console means.
And that was always the main selling point of the Xbox Series X. So many marketing campaigns were promoting that specific games to be played at 4K and 120 FPS with HDR and smart delivery, and so that's a pretty impressive thing to be able to market your new gaming console.
I just want you guys to remember, one of the things he just listed off that they were marketing was smart delivery, which automatically upgrades previous gen games to their next gen version, assuming the developers allow it. Activision's pretty keen on charging for 2 different versions of the game, but especially with Microsoft's first party games, every single game that they upgraded worked out of the box, day one, no extra purchases necessary whatsoever. You just had to install and update your games with the smart delivery. So remember, that was one of the biggest marketing points. From what I remember, part of their marketing has never been, oh, these true next generation games that can only be played on the Series X and S and nowhere else. Just keep that in mind, because he's gonna complain about that in a little bit.
But remember this important key fact. The Xbox Series X is a gaming console, and it seems like a lot of the marketing tactics that they're using to promote the Xbox Series X is the same marketing tactics that they would use to promote a new graphics card, such as the RTX 30 series. Now, I don't really know when most PC players decide to actually upgrade their graphics card in their computer, but I imagine it's when a new graphics card is announced.
No, not all PC gamers upgrade their graphics card each time a new one is announced. If anything, a lot of people would upgrade them when new ones release, not when new ones are announced. Let's compare this to consoles. Do you think somebody would buy an Xbox One the second the Series X got announced? Probably not. They would probably hold off until the Series X came out so they wouldn't spend as much money. And I know I sure as hell didn't upgrade as soon as a new graphics card got announced. When I first built my PC, I had a 1650 Super in it. Then I upgraded to a 3070 Ti about 10 or so months later, which was in August of 2021, I believe, so far after that card had already come out. And I don't plan on upgrading for at least a little while. Who knows, maybe if this YouTube thing really works out, then I can afford to upgrade even more. But as of now, I'm perfectly happy with my 3070 Ti. And I didn't upgrade to a 3090 just because the 40 series got announced. Maybe other people do, but I highly doubt that's most people.
You know, very rarely do I see people get excited for a new graphics card when a new PC game gets announced. It's usually when a new graphics card gets announced. So I'm sure Microsoft is seeing the mindset of a lot of gamers and assuming, hey, we don't have to make an entirely different console and make games dedicated for that entire console. We just have to make an even more powerful console and people will buy that console. And that's exactly what happened with the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, because Microsoft doesn't do the generations thing that Sony was originally planning on doing until they went back on it. Microsoft's model is every few years release a new, more powerful console that you can take all your old games to. They'll continue to release stuff on the old consoles for as long as they can, which is usually about 2 extra years or so, and then only support the new consoles until the next console comes out. They're definitely doing a more PC approach to things. Obviously, it's a little different because on PC, any game can be played on any graphics card, and on Xbox, they're gonna lock you off eventually from older consoles. But it's a very similar thing when it comes to the, oh, you can upgrade if you want to, but otherwise the cheaper cheaper option from last generation is still there. And I've mentioned this a bunch of times in the past, but exclusive games that can only be played on one console are not the primary driving factor for people to purchase next-gen hardware. It's the fact that you can play already existing games in better forms, and future games that will be on multiple platforms will perform best on the new hardware. Prove me wrong on that, because if people really were buying these consoles only for the next-gen games and nothing else, these next-gen games would have similar sales to those of last-gen games, which obviously isn't true. Demon's Souls will never sell near Call of Duty or Elden Ring. Same goes for Starfield and Flight Simulator.
And where my first problem came from is that there is no reason for me to buy the Xbox Series X when it comes to new games to play, because there aren't any. Remember what I said earlier, the Xbox Series X is a gaming console. It's not a PC. If I wanted to play a PC, I would go and build a PC. The main selling point for me personally, when it comes to buying a new gaming console, is to give me games that I can only play on the Xbox Series X. Not a game like Call of Duty Cold War that can be played on the PC or the PS5, and not a game like Overwatch that could be played on both the Xbox One X and on the Xbox Series X. No, give me something that can only be played on this brand new $500 machine.
I mean, if all you want is exclusive games that can only be played on one platform, then you should definitely go with Sony. But then again, I'm pretty sure at the time that the PS5 launched, the only true next-gen game they had was Demon's Souls. So you're just gonna buy a PS5 for Demon's Souls and then what, complain that there's nothing else? Even though you can play all your old games in better forms. And also, like you said earlier, Xbox's main marketing points were smart delivery and carrying over games between generations. So knowing this, why did you buy the console expecting there to be true next-gen only games on it and then complaining when there aren't any? Microsoft never promised that. Their thing with the Series X and S have always been carrying games between generations and doing like what you said earlier, treating it like a more powerful alternative to something you can do already. This is like me buying a Call of Duty game and then getting upset when it's not an open world where I get like swords and bows and arrows and armor and stuff. Don't buy something knowing what it's going to be and then complaining that it isn't something that it's not meant to be. But again, like I already said, he basically admitted earlier and a little later in this video that he just bought this thing to dunk on it for ad revenue.
A game that would have been perfect for this opportunity is Halo Infinite. It's not a launch title, and that would have been a perfect title, but it will be coming out soon enough. But that is the biggest issue that I see, is that there's no reason for me to buy it on day one, because, well, all the games that I could play on this system can easily be played on my Xbox One X.
Yes, and again, that's what Microsoft has been promoting this thing as. A way for you to play your already existing games and new games that will be cross-generation in a better form than you could play them on the last generation consoles. And I love how he brings up Halo Infinite as an example when that's on the Xbox One as well. So I don't see how that would have satisfied your needs, because you said you wanted a game that could only be played on the Series X, but it can also be played on the Xbox One. So I don't know why you're using that game as an example. That would not fulfill your needs.
So at that point, what is really influencing me to upgrade from my Xbox One X to the Xbox Series X? Well, the graphics, the potential graphic power that you get when playing your video games. This is where my second issue comes in. This is where it's very important to understand what games you are going to or you want to play on the Xbox Series X, but also the equipment that you're going to be using to play on the Xbox Series X.
So the games that you play are not upgraded. How is that Xbox's fault? All of Microsoft's first-party games were upgraded day one. At least I'm pretty sure it was all of them. Maybe it was most of them and some came a little bit later. Whatever. Most of their major recent releases were upgraded day one at no additional cost. If the games that you specifically play are not upgraded for the console and you buy the console expecting them to be upgraded, that is on you. That is not on Xbox. It is not Xbox's job to optimize third-party games. It's up to the developer themselves. But I'm gonna wait to get into that because he's about to bring up his point with Overwatch.
Because while it can be played at 4K, you have to play on a TV that delivers 4K. And most modern day flat screen TVs do have 4K, which a a gaming console is supposed to be used as, is a couch machine where you play games. But someone like me, whose favorite game is Overwatch and is probably going to be playing Overwatch on the Xbox Series X due to the fact that there is a lack of games, even for the Xbox to begin with, is going to be playing in their office on a 27-inch monitor that can only deliver 1080p quality video. I'm not really going to see a lot of benefit from the upgrade to the Xbox Series X.
Wait, so you mean to tell me that if you don't have a monitor or a TV that can fully take advantage of what the console can provide, then you're not going to reap the full benefits of the console? Are you going to tell me that water is wet next? Again, I don't see how this is specifically an Xbox problem, or why this is a complaint you're bringing up at all. Again, this seems to come from a lack of research on your part. How do you not realize that in order to take full advantage of your new hardware, you have to have a monitor or TV that supports the hardware fully? It's the same with a high-end graphics card or the PS5. I don't know why this is a complaint you're specifically relegating towards the Xbox. And overall, this is just a really empty point in all honesty.
Now, up until this point, you've been watching Xbox Series X gameplay of Overwatch, but let me compare and contrast the graphic differences so that you can really see and value how much of an upgrade to the Xbox Series X really is. Now, on the screen, you have two different consoles captured. Now, can you take a wild guess on which one is the Xbox Series X? If you guessed the right side was the Xbox Series X, you would be correct. On the left side, if you said the Nintendo Switch, you would also be correct. Now, the reason why I randomly threw in Nintendo Switch gameplay is to show you what I kind of expect when I spend $500 on a machine that can deliver me more graphical horsepower.
What? That doesn't even make any sense. The Xbox One was already more powerful than the Switch. So why would you compare an extremely underpowered piece of hardware to a next-gen piece of hardware that's equivalent to a pretty decent gaming rig? Your reason for including the Switch gameplay comparison doesn't even make sense. And trust me, dude, if you're hoping for better quality than the Switch on a Series X, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with your experience. And plus, this video is not you comparing the Series X to the Switch. It's you comparing the Series X to the One. I am genuinely so confused right now.
Because now what you're looking at is Xbox One X and Xbox Series X gameplay of Overwatch. Can you really tell the difference? Now, some people will say, well, it's because Overwatch wasn't enhanced from the Xbox Series X. Well, that's the whole problem that I have, is that Overwatch is my favorite game. There's a whole library of games that aren't going to be enhanced by the Xbox Series X, and you're expecting people to pay $500 for this new machine that doesn't give any new games, that just enhances the games that's already out. That's why it's very important to decide how much you value graphics in a game, and also how much you value some of your favorite games possibly not being enhanced by the Xbox Series X.
Apologies, I know that was a bit of a longer clip, but I really needed to let the whole thing play out. Why are you judging whether or not a console is worth the upgrade based off of a backwards compatible game that wasn't updated? And again, it is not Microsoft's job to update the games. They cannot do that. It is not their game. They are not expecting you to buy this thing to play Overwatch. They're expecting you to buy this because you want better graphics, frame rates, load times, etc. from already existing games and future games that are going to be available on the Xbox One as well. Again, that is their whole marketing campaign for this thing. And listen, I understand he's not directly saying that, oh, it's Microsoft's fault, but he said in that clip that, oh, there's a bunch of games that aren't enhanced and you're expecting people to buy it. My dude, they basically did everything they could for launch besides putting out some new games. They upgraded basically every single one of their old games for the new hardware. They did everything within their power. This is not just an Xbox problem. This was also a problem on the PS5 because guess what? It is not Sony and Microsoft's job to upgrade third-party games. This point is completely invalid.
I want night and day differences, and if the main selling point of the Xbox Series X is graphics, well, then deliver me a different experience for a majority of your old titles if you're not going to be giving me any new games? Oh yeah, by the way, I lied. The beginning gameplay actually wasn't Xbox Series X gameplay. It was Xbox One gameplay.
Imagine unironically boasting and being proud of the fact that you're lying to people in your review on something. I'm sure that won't end terribly for you whatsoever. And dude, they have been upgrading their stuff. You said that earlier in your own video. Remember when you mentioned smart delivery at the beginning? Yeah, that's their whole thing. They've been upgrading all their stuff for free day one. As far as I know, there's still not upgrades for a lot of PlayStation 4 games. And the ones that there are, you have to pay for. I don't know if you were recording a video bashing the PS5 and accidentally put that audio file in here, but that's the only way I can think of that you would accidentally do that. If you don't think Microsoft has been upgrading your games, you clearly have not played any of the backwards compatible games.
Now, the last and final issue that I have with the Xbox Series X, based on my own personal needs, wants, and expectations of spending $500 on a brand new machine, is that it just doesn't feel like a brand new console. In my unboxing the Xbox Series X, I said the same phrase over and over again. It's the same.
She looks the exact same. It is the exact same height. So the startup is it's the exact same. Here is the Xbox Series X dashboard. It's the exact same as the Xbox One X.
It's the same, it's the same, it's the same controller, it's the same user interface, it's the same design. Even the name, something as small as the name could have easily been changed if you're trying to market this console as a brand new different console.
Dude, you do realize that they did change the name, right? It's not called the Xbox One X, it's called the Xbox Series X. That's a different name. Did you miss that little thing? Because you've been saying that throughout your entire video. You've been comparing the two consoles and saying they're different names. Do you not realize that they did in fact change the name? Also, okay, the controller and the UI are the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The controller and UI were probably the best things about the Xbox One, if I'm being honest. And I actually want to ask you guys about that because I know a lot of people like the Xbox dashboard and a lot of people don't like it. So comment down below, tell me if you like it or not. Maybe it's because the Xbox One was my only console before I moved to PC. That's why I like the UI or something. I don't know. Comment down below. I'm genuinely curious. But also, dude, you gotta realize at the end of the day, yeah, UI and controller changes and stuff are nice, but at the end of the day, most people are upgrading their gaming console for better performance and graphics in their games. And the Series X delivers that when the devs optimize the games. And again, Microsoft is moving away from the whole generations thing where each Xbox is completely different and they're starting to mold each generation together and basically have each new generation be like just a power upgrade.
But it's so weird how they're doing it because they're marketing it like it's a brand new console, but they're treating it like it's almost the same as the Xbox One X. And the Xbox One X is barely cheaper of the Xbox Series X, but for someone like me who was wanting to upgrade, I not only had to spend $500 a couple years ago, but now spend another $500 on a console that doesn't deliver me anything different.
Except for the fact that it doubles the FPS of almost every single game you're currently playing on, and has way better graphics. But of course you wouldn't know that because the only game you tested this with was Overwatch, which hasn't received an upgrade, at least at the time of this video. And dude, again, you do realize this is a new console, right? It's not the same thing. And also, I'm pretty sure at the time of this review, the Xbox One X was only $300, which is almost half the price of a Series X. So to say that it's barely cheaper, that's just a lie. It's almost half the price.
And I know that's a total nitpick and probably not relevant, but if I'm spending $500, I would kind of want a different user interface than the one that I've been playing for the past couple of years on. Plus, the user interface isn't even good. So, like, do I really want the same one again? No! And those are just some personal issues that I ran into when spending $500 on a brand new machine that you might run into.
If this dude mentions the fact that this thing is $500 again, I might flip my desk over. Please stop saying the price. We know how expensive it is. You've said it like 50 times throughout this video. Stop it.
In this, I wasn't stupid when I went and bought this console. There would be some people who'd be like, well, you should have known better and done your research before you spent $500. No, I kind of knew what I was getting into. Really, I bought the Xbox Series X to do an unboxing video and to bring a review video that I otherwise couldn't do if I didn't buy the Xbox Series X.
And there you go, guys. He just admitted it right there. The only reason he bought this thing was to do a review and dunk on it, because you guys heard him right there. He said he knew what he was getting into. into. So I guarantee he knows he was thinking, okay, well, this thing doesn't really suit me very well, but I'm gonna buy it and do a review on it anyway. And then I don't care if my points make sense or not, or if it sounds like I didn't do research, because at the end of the day, my video is gonna make back the money anyway. You know, it's kind of genius in a weird way. Know exactly what you're getting into, farm a bunch of hate clicks from a video reviewing the thing you're getting into, and then make profit off of those hate clicks.
I'm gonna make my money back just based on these 2 videos and expand my brand a little bit more. So it's not like I wasted $500. No, I went into it knowing that it was gonna be a business expense. So as a business, this was a smart investment. As a gamer, this was a rushed investment because I didn't see much of an upgrade outside of faster load times, which is nice, but how much do I really value faster load times and potential better graphics for future video games that I might not care about down the road?
Well, the gamer in you should have thought about that. Because if we ignore your business side for a second and just look at this as a random guy who plays video games reviewing this, you basically rushed into buying a console, didn't do the research on it, and then complained when it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. Sounds like a particular tickled man with the Steam Deck.
You know, Halo Infinite does seem appealing, but I haven't played the last couple of Halos, so what makes me want to play Halo Infinite if I've kind of fallen out of love the series? And I'm sure after watching this video, after hearing about my issues, you're gonna be a little bit more self-aware before you drop almost half a rack on a new gaming console. You know, all these people are talking in your ear saying how the Xbox is more powerful and delivers better graphics, which it does. Like, it 100% does. I'm not denying that, but do you value that? Do you really value faster load times, better graphics, and maybe a few first-party launch titles like Halo Infinite to the point where you do drop $500 on this? And that's why I made this video, not hating on Xbox, but just simply giving my own personal issues to see if you relate to the system. Because really what it boils down to is, does the Xbox Series X have a reason to exist? Now, the PC exists because that is like the gaming machine. The Switch exists because that is a portable gaming machine. The PS5 exists because that has good first-party titles, or that's based on your own judgment on the first-party titles. And same thing could be said with the Xbox Series X.
So wait a minute, you were just saying, does this thing have a reason to exist? And then you listed off why you think other platforms exist, and then you end it by saying, just like the PS5, the Xbox has good first-party titles, and that's why it exists. What is going on right now? But let me correct what you said. You're right about the PC, but the Switch exists because it has the good first-party titles. The portability might be a small factor, but ultimately people want it for the first-party titles. And then the PS5 and Xbox exist because they can play all the third-party games that release, and then they get some first-party titles on the side. This dude seems to be chest deep in that Musclusives mindset, but then goes ahead and says that Xbox has good first-party titles as well. So dude, what's your point? You're asking why it exists, and then you gave a reason why it exists, even though I disagree with that reason. You still gave it. You proved yourself wrong.
How much do you value Halo Infinite first-party titles, and how much do you value faster load times and better graphics for already existing games and potential games down the road? Well, that's kind of up for you to decide. I'm not deciding for you, which is why I wasn't hating on Xbox. I just gave my own reasons, and if you can relate, well, then you kind of have your answer there.
Again, dude, you were absolutely hating on Xbox. You even kind of admitted it yourself. You said you bought this as a business decision to make profit and grow your brand, and you claimed that you did your research and knew what you were getting into, meaning that you knew these points you were making were BS. But hey, I guess saying I regret buying the Xbox Series X gets a lot more clicks than I love the Xbox Series X. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I figured I would give you guys a bit of a longer video since I haven't uploaded in the past few days, and hopefully this was a nice gift on New Year's Eve. So yeah, I just want to end this video off by wishing you all a very happy new year. Hopefully you're doing something fun to celebrate, maybe hanging out with the family or friends, playing some video games, or just doing whatever you enjoy. And yeah, here's to 2023 being better than 2022. But anyway, guys, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will catch you all next time.